Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this week's video, we're going to be turning this Air Force One into a full miniature bodega. It's going to have a full exterior, full interior, miniatures, the most detailed custom I've ever done. But there's only one problem. We need to get it done in 2 weeks. We need to get it done by July 29th for the Waffles and Wine art exhibition that's taking place here in Philly. So without further ado, let's not waste any more time. Let's get it done.
All right, everybody knows the first step. We're going to go ahead and deconstruct the shoe. Most of my latest projects on this YouTube channel have consisted of me deconstructing the shoe, so if you want an in-depth tutorial on how to do that, click back and watch a few of my older videos. But to keep it simple, we're adding acetone to the factory glue, slowly pulling it apart so it doesn't tear the leather of the shoe, taking out the stitches, and slowly but surely the shoe will come apart. Next step is going to be me cutting slits in the bottom of the shoe. This is a sneak peek as to what the inside of the store is going to look like. And after that, I'm going to be gluing a light diffuser to even out the harsh lights from the LED strips. After sketching out where I want the windows, I'm going to be using a razor blade slowly but surely, taking out the leather from the upper panel of the shoe to get that desired look. This is a thick watercolor paper that we're going to be using a lot of. Using this paper, we're going to be adding all types of accoutrement all around the shoe, making the window sills, the stairs, the fire escape.
So right now we have all the fundamental pieces cut and shaped, like the shoe, the sole, most of the inside of the store, a couple pieces that are going in that back alley section that you'll see later on. Now we just have to add some color before we assemble.
It's time to bust out one of my favorite tools, the Cricut cutting machine. We're cutting out several stencils with this, but mainly the brick on the upper. And next we're going to set up a sketchy airbrush booth so we don't get overspray everywhere. And then adding a light beige/bone to get that undertone right. Time to paint the storefront a nice gray. Same with the deconstructed sole of the shoe. Now I'm just painting this dumpster a dark green. And here are a few more of the other objects I made using that watercolor paper after I painted them. And now we can apply that brick stencil before going in with multiple layers of dark red. Very seldom do I see a brick building and every single color matches. So here I'm just going in brick by brick as I see fit, adding in some deviations, some lighter, some darker. Now we remove the brick stencil and see where we have to touch up. And as far as getting the inside of the bodega the way I want it to look, I did find some pictures, some chip aisles, some candy aisles, and some soda refrigerators. And I'm going to shrink down to the small pictures, get them printed out, and hopefully with the right placement inside of the shoe, it'll give us the look we want. Again, going in with that trusty watercolor paper to make a lot of the things that are going to be going inside of the store. Right here, I'm making the shelves for the chips. Also using the paper to add a fridge to the drinks, before painting that a super dark gray. Most people's favorite part of the painting process, the dry brush, going in with a nice silver to bring out some of those edges. That same silver is going to be added to the fire escape, and then a black on this power box. Going in super heavy-handed with the dry brushing on the storefront to really add that weathering look. Now adding these weathered dark green panels to the storefront. I use a super thick cardboard to cut out what is going to eventually be the bottom of the store. And here's what the fridge looks like installed into that back wall. After adding that fridge that I made using that dark brown and dry brush with silver, I added a plexiglass behind it, and here I'm adding the drinks behind that. Here I'm finding the place for the checkout/cigarette booth. I also printed out a bunch of ads for cigarettes, sodas, and beer, and I'm going to be adding them all over the interior and exterior of the store. After gluing and assembling the chip aisle, this is what it looks like so far.
I am having some complications with the plexiglass, but with some more trial and error, I think I'll be able to figure it out.
The problem I was having with the plexiglass is getting it to bend perfectly. So instead, I just cut out each individual pane and glued them separately. Using some of those ads I printed out, I'm going to be adding them all over the storefront on that window. Now it's time to do some of the big assembly. Using a hot glue gun, I'm going to be adding the back wall of the store onto that thick piece of cardboard I painted checkerboard. These are some wooden beams I used for stability of the shoe and to make sure everything was even. When it's all said and done, you won't be able to see most of them, but the ones you can see, I think add a nice flair to the project. And here we are with most of the interior of the store done. Now it's time to wrap that back wall that transitions into the alley onto the shoe. Here I'm using the Dremel on that hard cardboard that I used to create the floor to have a snug and proper fit into the sole. And here I'm taking the bottom of the shoe, adding a lot of oranges and browns to really bring out that weathered look. And the same thing goes for the upper brick. We want this shoe to look like a bodega that's been in your neighborhood for decades. And using that watercolor paper, I created some power boxes that go into the alley to hide the power banks for the lights that we're going to be adding in later. I've never wired lights before, but after trying it a couple times, I think I got it down. Removing the protective layering and actually exposing the wire before tying the negative to the negative and the positive to the positive, I was able to get the perfect length of cable that connected to the battery pack. Now that most of the inside of the store is done, it's time to add the final details, such as the miniature trash bag. And this is how the lights from the ceiling will be housed. It's not pretty, but that's why we added the diffuser. Using an X-Acto knife, I created a small slit in the tongue for the battery pack. And here I'm going to begin on making the sign that hangs outside the store. It's that same watercolor paper, about 3/4 of an inch wide. I hopped into Photoshop to make the sign and also gave it some weathering for authenticity. I bought a pack of multicolored LED lights, but they only gave me the white ones, so we're going to have to figure that out. And since I wasn't given a yellow LED light, I used this paint marker to create one. And now it's time to wire everything up. Time to install the windows. And here I'm adding a tension rod for the sign to keep it level. I also lined it with aluminum foil to make everything brighter. Now that the sign and the wiring are exactly where I want it to be, it's time to glue it up. I also had to make another casing to hold the power bank. Now that we've got most of the inside and the outside of the store, it's time to add some graffiti. I mainly use these paint markers to add tags and intricate pieces all over the uppers. Adding some detail to the graffiti with a brush. I want this shoe to really look like it's lived in a city. So while there are some intricate pieces, there's also a multitude of tags. And here's the shoe after I added all the graffiti. And now it's time to start on the base. Using this old piece of wood I had from a 9x9 shelf, I'm going to create the base. I'll start by dremeling a hole for the wiring for the street lights that's going to be coming next. Also using wood carver tools and a Dremel, I created a sidewalk look. When I was happy with the result, I scuffed it with sandpaper to get ready for primer. Also adding some cracks and distressing from years of people walking all over it. Next, I'm going to be going in with a light gray, applying that all over the base. Make sure to get it into the cracks. I added some black and white speckles using the oldest trick in the book, a toothbrush. I feel as if it really gives a sidewalk texture look. Now going in with beige for a dry brush to bring out those edges. And what's a sidewalk in the city without a little bit of grass peeking through the cracks? So I went in with this glue and grass to give me the look of a building that has been sitting there for years. And I think this is one of my favorite parts of the shoe. It really brings that sidewalk to life. Then using bendy straws, tape, and some wires, I added some random miscellaneous pipes for the back of the alley. Next is to create that street light. Using a wooden dowel, I then sanded the top to make it nice and smooth. Then going in with the smallest screws and screwdriver I can find, I was able to add the 2 wooden slats at the top. I was able to find this miniature streetlight on Amazon and was able to attach it to the telephone pole I made using zip ties. Now it's time for the big final assembly. Using hot glue, I'm adding the sole of the shoe to the base of the store. Including some more grass uprooting from under the building. Adding the stairs to the bodega, the previously mentioned miscellaneous pipes. Then I'll be gluing all the power banks to the back of the store in the alleyway. Another power box, the dumpster, and the mini trash bags. Now it's time to add the telephone pole, making sure to run the wires to the back of the base. Doing some final details with a dry brush on the telephone pole, and then adding the miniatures. These 1x50 miniatures really bring the piece to life. Adding these 2 ladies talking to one of the workers, another guy indecisive on what drink to get, and the same indecisiveness on this lady looking at the chips. We have the other worker on her smoke break, and a young couple just walking by. Graffiti comes at a cost, and it looks like the cops got this guy. And now placing the fire escape, and a few more signs to that telephone pole. The one way, the bus stop, and the no left turn. And now all that there is left is to lace them up. So before I show you guys the final product, I just want to talk a little bit more about the event. It was the Waffles and Wine at the Midnight in the Wicked. We got there a little early just to scope the place out and set everything up. We got a VIP booth that we had to share amongst 3 or 4 other artists. Place had a bar. It was an underground speakeasy type of vibe with endless waffles going around all night. I got to network with a bunch of amazing people, other artists, other people in different types of industries. Got to talk to everybody who came through about my projects. Shout out to Waffles and Wine for having me out. Can't wait for the next one. Without further ado, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. Here's the final product.